All right, in this video, we want to think about the ways that we can classify different immune responses in the human body. So now that we understand how our immune responses work, we'll be able to apply these labels to specific situations. So, how do we classify specific immunities? So every single immune reaction that the body has, all immunity, can have a couple of labels applied to it. So all immunity is either active or something we'll call passive. So every single immune response your body performs, it can be classified as either active or passive. But in addition, there's a second set of terms that we can use to describe immunity. So all immunity is either active or passive, and immunity can be described with a second piece of terminology. So immunity is active or passive and either natural or artificial. So we need to understand these four pieces of terminology and then think about how they get combined together. So since immunity can be active or passive and natural or artificial, that creates four combinations of immune response. We'll describe those combinations with these pieces of terminology. So one kind of immune reaction can be active natural immunity. We'll think about what that means. Another kind of immune reaction can be active artificial immunity. We'll also think about what that means. There can be passive natural immunity and passive artificial immunity. So we want to be able to apply these four labels to any immune response that we learn about and describe why the label is appropriate. So in order to do that, let's define these terms: active, passive, natural, and artificial. So let's begin with active immunity. So active immunity is induced whenever an individual is exposed to antigens, causing the body to produce antibodies. So we know this is a part of the adaptive immune response. This is an essential component of an immunocompetent person's immune system. If active immunity is not working, the person pretty much lacks an effective immune system. So the key to active immunity is that in an individual, this creates memory B cells. So this person will be ready for fast action against an antigen in the future. So memory B cells, formation of memory B cells, are a critical component of active immunity. Active immunity is slow to develop, so that process of developing a memory B cell that has the capability of making antibodies to detect a particular antigen takes several days. We've talked about the time involved in that process previously. The great thing about those memory B cells is that they last for a long time. So for some diseases, this can lead to lifelong immunity. For other diseases, the immunity isn't lifelong, but it's still quite long. So this, again, is a really important component of our long-term immune defense. And again, active immunity can be achieved in one of two different ways. We can have active natural immunity or active artificial immunity. And we'll give examples of what those are in just a moment. So active immunity is when a person receives antigens and learns to produce antibodies because of their memory B cells. What about passive immunity? So passive immunity is when an individual receives antibodies, not the antigens, that were produced in another animal. So these people that are receiving passive immunity, they are not exposed to the antigen. So in this person, they're not creating any memory B cells. There's no production of new antibodies. So in passive immunity, we're going to give an individual antibodies, but that does not mean that they know how to make those antibodies moving forward. This is great because passive immunity provides an immediate onset of protection. The second antibodies are present in the body, they are protective. But unfortunately, the effectiveness of this treatment is really short term. So antibodies are proteins, proteins are relatively unstable in the body. So to maintain a long-term immune protection, the body needs to be able to manufacture new antibodies to replace those that are lost. But in this case, an individual is getting some antibodies, and those antibodies will inevitably fall apart after some amount of time. So again, passive immunity, where a person gets antibodies but does not learn how to make those antibodies themselves, can be achieved either naturally or artificially. So there's passive natural immunity and passive artificial immunity. Again, let's define more terms, and then we'll think about examples of these kinds of immunity. So far we've defined active and passive. The difference there is the ability of the individual to make antibodies. It's the presence or absence of memory B cells. Now let's consider natural versus artificial immunity. So natural immunity is an immunity that's acquired during normal biological experiences, so not medicine. So natural immunity is what has been happening to humans and other animals ever since their immune system evolved. Natural immunity is when you're exposed to a disease-causing pathogen and you mount an immune response to it. Natural immunity is when an organism gets sick and its immune system responds, right? Normal biological processes, things that have been occurring since prior to the invention of medicine. So how does artificial immunity compare? Well, artificial immunity is any immunity gained through a medical procedure. So vaccines are the ones we'll talk about most often, but there's more than one kind of medical procedure that can give immunity. So natural versus artificial. Natural is just normal life processes, not medical. Artificial, medical processes. So let's think about the different kinds of natural immunity. So we've said that there can be natural active immunity. So we know natural are things that occur in the normal life processes of animals without medical intervention. And then active is where they're exposed to the antigen and their body learns to make the antibodies against that antigen. So here, natural active immunity is when an organism acquires an infection that initiates that adaptive immune response. How about natural passive immunity? So we know, again, natural, things that occur without medical intervention. Passive is where the individual receives antibodies from another organism, but does not know how to make those antibodies themselves. So what's an example here? During child rearing, right, mothers commonly pass antibodies from the mom to the child to protect that child against infections that the mother knows about, but the child does not yet know about. So antibodies can be transferred through the placenta when in utero, and antibodies can be transferred through breast milk after birth. So this is the most common example of natural passive immunity, is where mothers pass antibodies to their children through the placenta or through breast milk to protect their children from potential infection. So here's a diagram to represent those two. Again, we're thinking about natural immunity, and here, so natural passive is where a baby acquires antibodies from their mother through breast milk or the placenta. Natural active immunity is when you gain immunity through illness. So here's a person with skin lesions, perhaps chicken pox, learning to gain that immunity against the chickenpox virus. So those are the natural processes without medical intervention. What about artificial immunity? So we can have artificial active. So again, artificial means medically induced. Active means the person is exposed to antigens and they learn to mount that immune response and they can make the antibodies. They have the memory B cells. So this is what we call vaccination. In vaccination, we're going to expose patients to a controlled dose of harmless antigen. So it cannot cause disease, but the body can learn to recognize that foreign substance, the antigen, and learn to create antibodies against it. All right. So how about artificial passive immunity? So again, artificial is medically induced. Passive means the person's going to receive antibodies but won't be able to make those antibodies themselves. So this is what we call immunotherapy. You might have heard these kinds of treatments referred to as like IVIG or intravenous immunoglobulin. Those kinds of treatments are where we inject a patient with preformed antibodies from another source. So we take those preformed antibodies from another animal, potentially another human, but sometimes from other animals. We inject them, and those antibodies will immediately bind to antigens in the patient's body and protect that patient from the pathogen. So again, here's a table. Artificial passive immunity. That's where immunity is gained through antibodies harvested from another person or animal, and they're being injected into this patient, and that patient is receiving the immediate protection of those antibodies. Artificial active, that's immunity through a vaccine. So this child is getting an injection of some antigens from something. Perhaps it's the influenza vaccine for the year. So they're being exposed to antigens from the virus that cannot make them sick, but their immune system will recognize those antigens and learn to make those antibodies and create memory B cells to protect this child for the rest of that flu season. So that's where we'll end. It's our goal in this class that you could identify the mechanism of immunity for any example given, right? And so I just hope that you can apply these terms and understand what they mean, and we'll use those moving forward. So as always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll look forward to talking to you again soon, and take care.